Hey guys, it's Joe here, and I am very excited to be back again with another YouTube Live. I am here doing another one of the channeled messages and conversations that Sam has put forth. And today we're going to be talking about questions and curiosity, which I think is so much fun. So, yeah, what has up is this idea that we do not, first of all, we don't have to know it all. I love that. They're like, sometimes you guys fight too hard for answer to a question rather than just sitting in the energy of the question. And they have been telling me for years, like 10 years or more, that the power is always in the questions we ask. It's seldom in the answers. So just like um, uh, the anticipation of, the curiosity around, the experiencing the unknown. That is the juicy part, not always the answer. Because once we find an answer, it's like we've closed that road, and possibility doesn't bloom as much from a place of this is it. I know the answer. Rather, this curiosity has this expansion feeling and a feeling of allowance, of possibilities. Often, when we are in, oh, I love this. Okay. I like how they download as I talk. The place we are in, the energy we are holding when we are in um, a challenge or a problem, or kind of like the general question, like, what do I want? What's my purpose? All of that often comes from when we are disconnected. So it's not coming from a place of wonder and curiosity. It is coming from a place of lack. Oh, that makes so much better. That makes so much sense. This distinction around the distinction between being curious, we are in alignment. So if this is your human self and this is your higher self, we're in alignment with our higher self when we are in a state or an energy of being curious. We are in a very disconnected state when we are coming from a place of lack. It's, I want to know how to do this, or I want to know what this is because I don't know the answer. That is a very different energy. And that is the fundamental difference, and the pull towards the invitation to be in this place of curiosity. Okay, so if you, as of course, thank you for joining me. This is Joyful Downloads, and I'm Joanne Moore, and I have been channeling this collective called SAM of Angels for just over a year. And now I love that they're giving me more opportunities to do channeling work. And things are just coming up so fascinating. I love this. So tonight they have asked all about questions, and we are going to kind of have a conversation. They've given me some downloads over the past week, and each Monday I will be coming here live to do have a conversation, and to then do a bit of channeling to see what they have to say directly. You can leave questions in the comments. I think I can see the comments through here. I'm new to this YouTube live thing. And but as always, take what fits, leave what doesn't. At any point, you may find more of this interesting. But yeah, so let's get on with it. Okay, so one of the things that came up is, I love this. What if the energy of a question is more powerful than the answer? When we, like I said before, when we have an answer, we stop kind of seeking. We stop that that open possibility thing going on, and then we just move on. We either try and find a solution, figure out how to do it. We move straight into, oh, I like that. We move straight into the humanness of the desire to do something or to create something, rather than we want the physicalness of it present, rather than staying curious. What if more questions just led to more questions to lead to more questions? And that's where we get our clarity from. So, one of the things, the state of curiosity frees up the expectations because we often judge ourselves like, oh, I should know this answer. And often I will find with people and with myself, my own experience, that bigger questions like, what's my life purpose? What makes me happy? We think we should know those answers. Like we somehow think we're broken if we don't know the answer to these things. And the truth is that we are an ever expanding, ever evolving, shifting organism of energy. And so it's never going to be the same thing twice. Like it's going to continue to grow. The answer is going to continue to grow. And so if we put a finite answer on some of these big questions, then we stop growing and we're containing the energy. We're blocking it. We're putting ourselves into a box. And this is not what spirit wants for us. It wants this ever growing, ever morphing, expanding being of energy to experience its expansion. So, of course, there's not going to be a finite answer for everything. And that's where it really, lets us loose and gives us a sense of freedom around that. So letting go of expectations. Now, when somebody asks the question, what time does the movie start? We need a finite answer. So we can show up in time to buy popcorn, right? But for the bigger questions, it's the invitation is to have more open-ended questions than set finite answers. Okay. So let's move on. So when we free up the expectations of a finite answer, it allows the flow of possibility and clarity. I like how they said today to me, clarity does not always have to be an answer. Clarity can actually be an aha for a bigger question or a different question. Clarity does not have to come as a rounded, full answer. Clarity can be, oh, I see this from a different way, which brings us back to last week's conversation about perception. But now what would I want to know? Like from this new vantage point, now what would I ask? Now what would I explore? Oh, I like that word explore. Curiosity and explore seem to be this wonderful mingle of the two. There's just some magic fairy dust in there, in between them. So there's no need to have an answer beyond this moment. And the most powerful question we can ask, and this one comes up again and again for me, is what feels best in this moment? What feels best in this moment? Because when we ask questions and we have a whole lot of possibilities, which we're going to get to in a minute, choosing from those possibilities to take inspired action does not mean that you are closing off the road. It means that you are exploring. I like that, how they tied that in. And so knowing how to choose out of a plethora of opportunities and possibilities, because possibilities will start showing up when we're open to, when we have open questions. Choosing is done through our intuition, and always the guidance is what feels best in this moment. And there are many people and channelers who talk about this. Abraham Hicks, Bashar is always like, that's one of his 7 rules of living or something, that like what feels best in the moment. Take action on the one that is most aligned and feels the best in this moment. And that's all we can do. But if your question is still open, and we're going to get to that, then there is continually going to be more opportunities, more possibilities available, more answers coming. Okay. And answers in the way of not a finite, this is the answer, 2 plus 2 equals 4, but rather, what's the possibilities? Okay. Um, what most aligns with who I am now? In this moment, what possibility that showed up feels most aligned with who I am now? What pulls me forward in this moment? I love that one because inspired action is never about being pushed or I should or that expectations is not attached and it's really a pull. So the future answers can be loosely held. I like that. As you grow and experience life in each moment, you will gain more knowledge, more clarity, and will choose from this new place again and again and again. So it's kind of like leapfrog. You ask the question, you are open to possibilities, you move forward, you have some clarity, you take inspired action, and then boom, you're in a new place. You are not the same person you were when you asked the question the first time. So each time you ask, even if it's the same question, you will be inspired because you're asking it from a new place, not from the old place, but from the new place. Okay. So the dilemma. Okay, so let's take an example. The dilemma. I want more joy in my life. So that's, and I've had that question recently. I've done a lot of sessions, a lot of readings this week. So I did have that one a couple of times actually. But yes, I would like more, I want more joy in my life. That's the dilemma. So the questions, some options for questions would be, what does joy feel like to me today? Because we will go straight into our humanness, dive straight into, this is what I don't want. This is what does not feel joyful to me. I want more joy in my life because, um, I'm stressed at work, or I don't know where I'm going to get money for rent, or my friends are annoying, or I don't know, whatever it is. There's like all these things that you don't want, but the question of what you do want or what does feel joyful sometimes can stump us. Now, again, letting go of the expectation that you have to know the answer because somehow we feel broken if we don't know the answer. Somebody that I follow on Facebook, Natalie Restored, it's like, you're not broken, you're birthing. It's perfect. You're not broken because you don't know the answer to what does joy feel like to me today. But it's a great open question. How does my body feel when I am experiencing joy? Hmm. And you kind of have to, because this puts joy as the focus, not what I don't want. This puts what I do want. And you want to create from what you do want rather than from what you don't want, because the energy of the two of them are very dynamic and very not the same. So you can use past experiences to bring the sensations back to your body of what joy felt like. So you can think back to, let me think for me. So an example that does not include my children would be being on the beach in Eleuthera in the Bahamas, laying on the pink sand, having just come out of the ocean. It's so warm. I can feel the sand underneath my fingers and my feet and the back of my head. And I can hear the wind blow and I can taste the salt and all of those like, oh, sensations. So I want to notice, not that I need that particular circumstance to experience joy, but I want to remember what it feels like. What does joy feel like? It's like, oh yeah, this. Now, that's not a finite answer because there are lots of other times that I felt joy as well that would feel different. Does that make sense? Okay, so as we ask our question, now another reason you want to ask questions that are not where you are suspending expectations for an answer. Oh, I like that. Suspend the expectation that you will have a finite answer. And what happens is our brain, because our brain is a answer seeking machine, it will put on the radar searching for this answer. What does joy look like to me? What does the experience of joy feel like to me? Suddenly your brain is on high alert, seeking answers, which will enable you to witness and hopefully acknowledge the possibilities. Because not just one answer will show up, especially, oh, I love this, especially if you do not hold tight that that is the only answer. In order to keep your brain searching, in order to keep your brain on the high alert and looking out for possibilities, you need to not take any answer as the finite solution. So if I were to stop the inquiry at, oh, okay, joy feels like me laying on the beach in the sun, that's it. And if I said, oh, that's exactly it, I'm not going to question it anymore. I'm not going to think about it anymore because that's my answer. Then my brain goes, oh, found the answer, mark that off the to do list, and it stops looking. So you want to keep it as, oh, that's really interesting. And that's actually a phrase that has come up more and more and more is, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I love that. Now, what else? You want to keep the question open, keep engaging in the question. Does that make sense? I hope this is making sense. And I hope y'all leave comments or below whatever to let